Hi guys, welcome to the realm of astrology. This is your horoscope for the full moon in Aquarius, which is happening on 23rd July or 24th July, depending where you're at, 2021. And we'll talk about what this moon means and what it can bring. But before that, I also want to let you know that I do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, and monthly sun rising sign video horoscopes. And you can watch all those on my YouTube channel. I also request you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. Alright, so let's talk about this full moon. Now this full moon is happening at about 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that would make it about, for a lot of the world, if you're on the east, then about 24th July in the morning. Alright, so let's place the full moon on the chart first. Now this is the moon at 126 and this is the sun, right? A full moon is when the sun and the moon oppose each other, 180-degree angle, as you can see. Now this is a point where the energy is extremely intense. Why? Because the sun, which is our individuality, it's our identity, it's who we are, is in opposition to our emotions, right? So the energy is always very intense on a full moon. And what do full moons bring? Full moons bring with them completion points, culmination points. They are also a day where the night is the brightest, right? Where the moonlight is the most. So they're also a point where we can see things clearly. We gain some sort of clarity on a full moon. Okay? Now, this full moon is happening in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius in general is about our unique self. It's about finding and embracing our authentic self, right? It's about raising our consciousness as well. So this full moon will help us in finding our authenticity, in embracing our uniqueness, and even raising our consciousness. That's there. Now, what else is this full moon going to bring? This full moon is going to bring clarity and understanding about 2 to 3 things. Now let's talk about what those are. And then once I talk about what this moon can bring in terms of clarity, we'll talk about the aspects this moon is making so that we can understand the energy of this full moon. So let's talk about a few things. Now this full moon, firstly, it's culminating the new moon that happened in the sign of Cancer about 2 weeks ago. There was a new moon in Cancer, I believe, on July 9th, and right now we're finding some clarity connected to that. That's the first thing, but that's not the most important thing. The more important thing that we are understanding goes back to December of 2020. Now in December of 2020, we had a powerful new beginning of 20 years. And that was connected to the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. They met up in December of 2020, December 21st to be exact. And they met up at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And that is why this full moon in Aquarius will bring us an understanding, some sort of clarity, some sort of a culmination point, a stepping stone, so to speak, connected to the new beginning that happened in December of 2020. So right now, we're able to understand what that beginning was, see it more clearly, make more sense of it. Maybe certain things are saying, okay, that started back then. Back then I didn't know that was my beginning, but yeah, now I think I understand. But before we move on, I do want to mention that this is not the full moon that will give us the complete picture on what happened in December of 2020. And that is because we have another full moon in Aquarius next month. And that is rare. It's rare to have 2 full moons in the same sign in a year, right? So that tells you that this full moon in Aquarius is special, it's different, and it's the first part to understanding a story that started in December of 2020. But it's not the complete picture. That'll come next month. But this is an important first step in understanding that story. So that's the more important thing that we are understanding, right? And that conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter that I keep speaking about in December of 2020 happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So you can look at your own chart and see where the 0 degrees of Aquarius is in which house. And whichever house that lies in, that's where the new beginning for you started, that area of your life. And now is the point where we will understand what that beginning is, or we'll make more sense of it. Now this is also connected to Feb of 2021, this understanding. In Feb of 2021, we had a new moon in Aquarius. And a new moon is when we begin a new cycle, right? So a new moon, we began a new Aquarius cycle, which had its roots in December as well. And now we are understanding that as well. Think of Feb. I think it was Feb 11th, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. But Feb 11, 2021, with the new moon in Aquarius, we began something. And now is the point where we are understanding that beginning, seeing it culminate in a way. It's not over, but we're seeing it come, we're seeing it grow. That's a better way to put it. Okay, so those are the 2-3 things that are kind of coming to light with this full moon. The first is a push towards being your authentic self, towards your unique self, towards raising your consciousness and vibration. The second is understanding and seeing with more clarity the new beginning that happened in December of 2020. The third is the new beginning that happened connected to December of 2020 in Feb of 2021. And the fourth is the new beginning that happened on July 9th, 2021. Now that's very recent. But at this point, we can understand, okay, I started something July 9th. I'm seeing that more clearly. That's very subtle, the July 9th one. So those are the 4 things we are understanding. Now let's talk about the energy of this moon. Okay, now this moon right here is, you can say, conjunct Pluto retrograde. It's a 6 to 7 degree orb, 6 degree orb, but they are conjunct. Now Pluto is a planet of transformation. Total transformation is what Pluto is. It is also a planet of endings, of beginnings, of rebirth, of healing, of catharsis, right? So when this full moon is conjunct Pluto retrograde means that we are reviewing the past connected to Pluto. This moon will be very transformative, very, very transformative. And Pluto is a planet that does not always feel very easy. So this moon may not feel very easy. That transformation that this moon is asking of us will not feel very easy. It could be a transformation. It could be an ending of something. It could be the beginning of something at this point. It could also be a healing, right? But more often than not, this is a point of transformation. And since the moon is conjunct Pluto retrograde, this transformation might not feel very easy. Might not. Okay. And since Pluto is retrograde, it is connected to the past. Now the past also goes back to Feb, right? Why does it go back to Feb? Pluto was at the same degree in Feb, around Feb, right? It's 25, 24 right now. So Pluto covered this degree. And now what it's doing is it's going back and covering the same degree. Now we covered this spot in Feb. Now we are covering it again now. And then we will cover it another time in December. So whatever this transformation is or starts to take place from now on, which might not feel very easy, will complete itself by December. Okay? But it is rooted in the past. It is transforming something we began in Feb. That's why this has a lot of connection to the month of Feb. December 2020, Feb 2021. So that's the first aspect. This moon is making a conjunction to Pluto retrograde, which is transformative, which is powerful, which is potent, which is an ending. It could be a beginning, it could be a healing. But in any case, all that is about transforming. If we end something, we transform our lives. If we begin something, we transform our lives. If we heal something, we transform ourselves. There's a lot of transformation that this moon will bring, and that transformation is rooted to Feb and is most likely not going to feel very easy. Okay, so that's the first aspect that this moon is making. Now, the second aspect this moon is making, it's not really an aspect, but we'll talk about it. Saturn is right there. Yes, it's a 9-degree orb. There's a difference of 9 degrees. But Saturn is in Aquarius, which means the moon is feeling the energy of Saturn in Aquarius, right? Because the moon's in Aquarius. And what is Saturn? Saturn is hard work. It is decisions. It is definition to things. It can also delay things. But more importantly, Saturn asks us to work hard, to define things, to take decisions so that it can put things right, put things in order. Now, with Saturn so close to the moon, we might be required to take a decision to transform. We might be required to define things to transform. We might be asked to work hard in order to transform. And it can feel like one is stuck with this full moon because Saturn is there. Saturn brings with it delays and disappointments and can bring with it a feeling of, I'm trying so hard, I'm working so hard, where are my rewards? Where are they? That's Saturn. It asks you to work without giving you the reward immediately, but the rewards come later. So this moon might feel like I'm transforming, I'm taking decisions, I'm working so hard. Yes, I can see that beginning clearly. It is rooted in the past, December and Feb, but why am I not seeing results? That could be one feeling. Why am I feeling stuck? That could be another feeling because Saturn is in this energy. Why is this full moon asking so much of me? Why is it asking these decisions that are difficult? Why is it asking me to define things that I don't want to define? Why is it making me work so hard? So that's the vibe. So this is an intense full moon. I have been speaking about it all week, saying it is going to be very intense, and it is very intense. It is total transformation that will require decisions, hard work, discipline. And that's not fun. It's just not fun, right? But that's what it is. So I have to tell you guys. I have to tell you what it is. Okay. Now let's talk about some other things, some other aspects this moon is making. Now this moon here is in a semi-sextile to Jupiter retrograde. 30-degree angle. Positive. This is a positive aspect for the moon. So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is blessings, it's rewards, it's gifts, it's all these things, right? So in a way, this moon can bring blessings. It can bring rewards. It can bring healing, connected to the recent past again because Jupiter is retrograde. But it will require us to transform Pluto. It will require decisions. So this is essentially saying, hey, you're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to take some decisions. You're going to have to define certain things. You might even feel stuck, but you will do this to transform in some way. And there is something positive in that, Jupiter. So whatever it feels like, whether if this moon feels difficult, always remember that Jupiter is there saying that, transform and it will be positive. The outcome in the end will be positive. So that's a great thing. And let's talk about something else. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Another aspect that is not technically involving the moon, right, this energy here, but is taking place at this point is the Mercury, Neptune, trine. It's not exact, but these two planets are in a trine, right? Trine is a 120-degree angle. It's positive, it's very positive. Mercury is our mind, it's our communication, it's our day-to-day routine, it's our habits. And Neptune is the planet of the higher realm. It's the most spiritual planet. Neptune can also bring with it confusion. It can also bring with it delusions. It can also make us unclear in our thoughts and make us overly sensitive. But in a trine, Neptune will manifest in a positive way, spiritual way, in a way that we feel connected to the higher realm or the universe or whatever you want to say, call it. And in this case, with a trine to Mercury, our mind, I believe this moon will bring more clarity. Why? Because in June we had the new moon solar eclipse. I know this must be a lot to take in, but in June we had the new moon solar eclipse, which was in a square 90-degree angle to Neptune, right? It was squaring Neptune, and Mercury was squaring Neptune, which meant that new beginning, that powerful new beginning with the solar eclipse, was confusing. But now with a trine to Neptune, Mercury is giving us clarity. It's giving us information. Okay, it's making things clear with a trine to Neptune, things that have been unclear for the past 2 months. And with a trine to Neptune, this moon can make us really, after we transform, after we take decisions, there is a blessing for us. But it's not just a blessing, it's also a feeling of feeling in alignment with our spiritual path. Mercury is our mind, right? Our logical mind. That is also feeling in alignment with our spiritual path, Neptune, with the higher realm. So, in some way, shape, or form, as we transform, as we take decisions, as we define things, as we work hard, there is not just a blessing, Jupiter, but there is also an alignment of feeling in tune with our spiritual path, saying that, okay, I know it's tough, I know it's required a lot of work, it's required me to transform, but something positive is coming out of this, and I feel like this is my path. Whatever I was confused about for the past 2 months is, I'm feeling like I'm gaining clarity about that. So that is happening. But I also want to mention that Mercury here, while it is in a closer orb to Neptune in a trine, it is also getting ready to oppose Pluto. Okay? This is a point where we will transform something connected to our thinking as well, connected to our communication as well, connected to our day-to-day routine, health, job, diet, exercise as well. So this moon will be very transformative. And I think this moon is a point where we will not fully understand, we will understand one part of the new beginning that happened in December and Feb. And before I move on, I would like to say that this is the first full moon in Aquarius, right? We have another one next month, so the story is not over. The story of finding our uniqueness, finding our authentic self, understanding the beginning in December of 2020 or Feb of 2021 is not complete. It's halfway there. It's halfway there. So that's all I am going to say for this moon, and I'll sum it up really quick and say that this moon is going to be very transformative. It is going to require hard work and decisions, and it is going to yield in a positive outcome, and it will also help us transform our day-to-day routine, our thinking, our communication. And at the end of it, we will, in some way, shape, or form, realize that yes, this is in alignment with my spiritual path. This is in alignment with the universal love and compassion, the higher good of all things. And it will also help us embrace our unique self, one more step. It will also help us raise our vibration a little bit more. So that's all I'm going to say for this full moon. So it's half the story right now in understanding what the new beginning was all about in December of 2020, Feb of 2021. And this moon, I forgot to mention it while I was summing it up, will also bring with it some clarity connected to the confusion associated with Neptune, which has been going on and off, up and down for the past 2 months. Yeah. Since June. Because since June, the squares to Mercury got very intense, right? So since June, some sort of clarity will come connected to that. And I will pick a card for the day, for the moon, and then we will close this reading out. Okay, let's go with the top. It says peace. I think what this is saying that this moon might feel very intense, but it will help us find our peace, find our uniqueness, find our authentic self. And if you are feeling stressed out, there is a positive silver lining at the end of this full moon, because Jupiter is there making a semi-sextile to the moon. So pick one more card. And perhaps with the clarity that's coming after with the Mercury-Neptune trine, we might just feel peaceful. We might just understand things, you know. And before I pick another card, sorry, it is always a very peaceful feeling to feel in alignment with your spiritual path. It is also a peaceful feeling to feel that whatever your path is, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing, is also for the universal good. So that's a very peaceful feeling, and I feel that that this moon will help us find that peace. And it's also a very peaceful feeling when you can be your authentic self, your true self, your unique self, without really hiding anything, right? And this moon will help us do that. Although it might require us to transform, although it might require hard decisions or some definition to things or some hard work or a feeling of like feeling stuck a little bit, it is going to make us peaceful in some ways. One more card. Okay, two more cards. It says the Fates. And I think this moon is really bringing into play the higher power, right? Whatever is happening is fated. So be peaceful about it, right? And leave it to the fates. Leave it to the universe. And this is a positive card of surrender, right? Because when you leave it to the universe, you kind of surrender. And in that, she's embracing herself. She's embracing herself. And I have been saying that we need to embrace our unique self, our authentic self. And this moon will help us do that. And look at how the stars start to align with this. Stars are aligning, and we need to embrace ourselves. And that will lead to some peace. And this says by the book. And whenever this card falls out, I think what this is saying that don't be by the book. And the reason I say that is because this is Aquarius, right? Aquarius is the unique one. It does not do anything by the book. It wants to be its unique self. So I think this is just about finding your unique self, not being by the book, not being who you think you should be, but embracing who you actually are, your true self. And this card is also telling you that, you know, even if you're not by the book, even if you embrace your uniqueness and who you truly are, you will still find people like people to support you. So don't feel scared of that. That you're not alone. You may be unique, but you're not alone. That's the message. So this moon, to sum it up, will push us one more step in raising our vibration and consciousness, finding our unique self, our authentic self. It will also help us understand part of the beginning that started in December of 2020, a beginning of 20 years, which we will build for the next 2 years, and something that began in Feb of 2021 as well. And this moon will require us to transform, will require us to take decisions and work hard, but at the end of it there is a positive outcome. It will also be a moon that clarifies our doubts or confusion that we have been going through for the past month and a half or so, and it will help us say that, okay, this is in alignment with my spiritual path. So that's all I'm going to leave you with, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great full moon, and I will see you in one of my other videos. Bye.